Good afternoon from Finland, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Get Ready for Agile Food. My name is Taru Satuli, and I am your host today. And I am here with two ladies. So, hi, Nesli and Riikka. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, Taru, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nesli Sozer. I'm a research professor at VTT, focusing on smart and sustainable food production and leading food economy 4.0 opportunity. I'm a food engineer by background, and I'm passionate in immersing food science and technology into novel concepts.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Riikka Virkkonen. I'm professor of practice at VTT. I'm responsible for the Industrial Renewal Lighthouse, which is VTT's long-term strategy on industrial renewal and digitalization.
Okay, thank you, ladies. So before we get started, I have a few practicalities I'd like you to note. So all you are muted, but you have a possibility to ask questions through the chat window that we have here. You should find it behind the little orange arrow that you can see on your screen. And we will be answering your questions that you will be posting towards the end of this session. We will have a Q&A session for that. And then after you close the webinar, you will see a pop-up window for the feedback and follow-up questions as well. So you can also post your questions and whatever you want to follow up on that. And for those, we will come back to you on one-on-one basis. And we will be providing the presentation material for you, so that is all covered. Okay, and let's see how our agenda looks like today. So I will first tell you briefly what VTT is all about, and then we will be looking at global food challenges and how the food economy 4.0 will respond to that. And Nesli will cover that one. And after that, Riikka will continue by looking at industry point of view and how agile manufacturing will be sort of happening in the future. And after that, we will jump back to Nesli's presentation, and she will take a consumer point of view, and she will cover hyper-personalized and distributed food manufacturing. And then after that, we will move to Q&A session. Okay, let's start by talking a little bit about VTT. So VTT is a Finland-based technology research company. And what we do in practical terms is that, well, we are a visionary partner for research and development and innovation, and we help our partners, enterprises, and the society at large to put new science and technology into the practice. And our vision is really where we are looking at a brighter future is created through science-based vision and innovations, and that's what we are working on. And really our strategy is to make an impact through scientific and technological excellence. And we have selected 5 global challenges that our research and innovation activities are taking on. And they are future climate, sufficiency of resources, good life, safety and security, and industrial renewal. And just a few numbers about what VTT is today. So we are a rather significant international research institution, and we are a major player in Finland. So more than 1/3 of all Finnish innovation actually involves some kind of expertise from VTT, and we employ currently about 2,000 people. But we also operate globally, and about nearly half of our turnover is actually coming from abroad at the moment. Okay, that was shortly about VTT. And now let's get started with our actual topic of today, and I will hand over to Nestle, who will cover the global food challenges and food economy 4.0.
Thank you, Taru. Let's have a look which is the global food challenges that we are addressing at the Food Economy 4.0 opportunity. You all must be aware of the fact that our population is growing all the time, and we will reach roughly to 10 billion people in 2050. This means that we have to find sustainable ways to feed all with healthy and nutritious food. And in the next 30 years, this will bring us to the situation that we have to find 2 times the Earth's current resources. Therefore, we should be focusing on technology solutions that enables the food ecosystem to operate within our planetary boundaries and enable good life for all. As Tara also mentioned, we are a challenge-driven organization, and we tackle some of these global food-related challenges under Food Economy 4.0 opportunity, which goes to Resource Sufficiency Lighthouse. And we focus here on smart food production, which has 2 pillars: sustainable food ingredients, where we focus on, for example, valorization of side streams, plant-based food design, and cellular agriculture, where we look into milk without cow and production of egg without the chicken. And in agile consumer-centric food production, we focus on sensing solutions and data analytics, both from the process efficacy, but also human measurement perspectives. We aim to design efficient food processes and tools to respond quickly to the changes of the customer needs. Agile consumer-centric food manufacturing has 4 cornerstones. And in today's webinar, I will touch base on hyper-personalized and distributed, decentralized food production examples, and what type of new opportunities it can bring to the food ecosystem. My colleague Riikka Virkkunen will give an overview on agile processing and Industry 4.0 practices, and how it can contribute to a food system functioning within planetary boundaries. Riikka, we are looking forward to hear your talk. What's in there for food industry and how we can connect Industry 4.0 with food?
Thank you very much, Nestle. So we are really challenged by the growth of the population and the need of food and other goods globally. We have seen that a manufacturing industry has always fundamentally influenced societies and distribution of well-being. Turning points in manufacturing and energy source have given rise to the industrial revolutions that enable the production of all necessary goods to the growing population. Currently, we are facing the 4th industrial revolution, where digitalization is shaping manufacturing industries and their ways to do business and operate and organize their operations. At the same time, we are already talking about the 5th revolution, which will put the consumers, the users, and the people in the center. This is also true in food industries, where customization, personalizations are taking place. Another way of looking at the evolution of industry and manufacturing is looking at this customization and the product volumes. About 200 years ago, everything was almost everything was handmade. We were in the craft production mode. The volumes were very small. Everything was done only for the need. It was purely pull economy business model. Then, in the middle of the 20th century, mass production was starting to take place. So in large volumes of goods that are exactly the same were pushed into the markets. After that, customization has been increasing, and as globalization has become more and more important, fluctuations in the demand are taking place. People also want more personalized products and solutions. Therefore, the production systems also have to change. So while we were about 50 years ago or more, a little bit more, we were using very dedicated manufacturing lines for large volumes of similar products. We now need much more flexible manufacturing systems and reconfigurable manufacturing systems that can produce effectively small series or even unique products. So also in food manufacturing, this is the case. The manufacturing systems and the industries need to respond to the need of doing smaller series or personalized or unique products in an effective way. So this gives rise to the need of agility and cognition in industries. Of course, agility is not only coming from the manufacturing systems themselves. It is a much more systemic change or evolution where the organizations, the business models, the work practices, the supply chains all become more agile and cognitive. This is also very much an issue of data. One needs to be able to collect the data and share it in the value chain. This means that not only one instance or one production line or one factory needs to be cognitive, but the whole system and the value chain needs to share data and learn. One could say that agility is the capacity of prospering in an environment of continuous and unpredictable change by reacting quickly to changing markets driven by custom-designed goods. Or one can say that agility is doing a perfect customer order on the fly to respond to customer needs under controlled costs. So fortunately, becoming agile, there are lots of technologies that are helping. For example, in the food manufacturing, as in any manufacturing, it is very important that you can measure what is happening. So there's lots of new kinds of sensors and sensor technology, measuring technologies. For example, low power, low noise, miniaturized sensors, which can connect to edge or cloud and observe, for example, safety, quality, process performance, stability, or detect anomalies. But they can also measure, for example, shopping behavior and these kind of things. These smart measuring technologies or chips can also be used in packaging, for example, to detect best before dates. As already mentioned, the data collected needs to be shared in data sharing platforms, but you can and should also share there much more, for example, business data, user and consumer data, or do smart contracts. AI and machine learning can help in the decision making, so to make smart, optimized decisions. And robotics and automations will help in putting these smart decisions into practice. Of course, we also need the agile processing technologies and the smart delivery. So monitoring and data management and sharing throughout the chain is extremely important. I will say a couple of words of these AI and robotics applications in food and manufacturing in general. So AI for food manufacturing, as in any manufacturing, like in automotive or machinery, so it is very much used to optimize the operations and production lines to reduce unplanned downtime and cut costs. But it can, of course, be used in many other operations as well. For example, sorting of feedstock or sorting packages or products, things that were very much done manually and with human brain previously. Of course, safety and quality and cleanness are extremely important in food processing. So one can, for example, implement AI-based cameras to detect if employees are wearing proper costumes, or image solutions and different kind of sensing technology to deliver data to machine learning to monitor, for example, food particles in the equipment so that one can clean them optimally. AI can be used apart from the processing of food also, for example, for development of new products. For example, Coca-Cola has detected how the customers have been using the soda fountains and created their own mixtures, and thereby using this information, put it into the AI system to develop new kind of flavored sodas. So using AI can bring a lot of benefits in industry. This example is a VTT example and not from the food industry, but it could be easily realized also and can be realized in food factories as well. So this is from the pulp industry, where we developed a system, a measuring system and an AI-based learning system combining the paper physics and chemistry tactic knowledge of the workers, laboratory results, collecting customer feedback and measuring data, putting all this into the same system, which was learning all the time and measuring the processes in real time and computing in real time. So this resulted in a much higher quality in the processes, and the whole system was implemented in 4 factories, which ended up in big savings in material usage. So one could save about 300 trucks annually of material. In addition, this data, this quality data, was shared with the customers, with the paper and board factories, which gave additional benefits as they could also optimize their processes according to the quality of the raw material that they got. So this, of course, is how one could optimize the processing of an inhomogeneous material to increase quality, predictability, and control the system, things that can also be done in food industries. This is an example from Misa Robotics, how AI can be used in food manufacturing. So they have realized a kitchen aid learning system that is can be used in commercial kitchens alongside with human staff, and it can do a variety of cooking tasks. It is equipped with sensors, vision systems, AI, thermal scanners that are connected to the cloud. So it can detect raw burger patties, monitor each patty in real time throughout the cooking process. It can clean, wipe the grill, and count down the cooking times for workers and give advice and alerts. In addition, it is connected to the digital system to put the orders. So one can really see that this kind of AI-based system can help in the customer orders, the precise in time, the quality, cleanness, and so on. So we already touched that not only the AI, but also the robots are extremely important. So the use of robots is increasing substantially. So it is about 3 billion opportunity by 25, and one can see that it's not only manufacturing robots, but it is for different kind of applications there. The increase of robots is, of course, driven by the increasing demand for packaged food, or food in general, but also the demand for productivity and cost savings, safety regulations, and increasing the food shelf life. It is also important to notice that the use of robots, it's really enabled by the development of robotic technologies, for example, perception, flexible grippers for handling of food, and all kinds of other technologies that make robots affordable and of course capable of doing several tasks, not only one task. At VTT, we have been doing research and innovations in robotics for a long time. We are really looking for those complicated applications which are not easy to automate. Especially important and interesting are, for example, indoor logistics, which are not yet very much automated in industries. And there's also a big potential for doing things more effectively, because a lot of time in factories are actually going just for picking different kind of things and putting things back. Another interesting area in robotics is the human-robot collaboration and cobots, so robots that are working together with the workforce. And there one can, of course, take the best parts of the robots and people and share the work in an optimal way. Of course, safety aspects are extremely important. We also do a lot of technology development for enabling technologies, for example, sensor technologies that were mentioned already before. The aim is really to find solutions that are flexible and can do different things, so multi-purpose robots and robots that are affordable with low cost. So in food sector, it's really entering to the manufacturing or processing of food, for cutting and slicing and so on, but it's also for picking and palletizing, packaging, for delivery, inspection and service robots. So it's a really broad area. So here is one example from US, from Zoom Pizza, where the robots are automatically preparing pizzas. So it is a system where the human hand is not at all needed for the pizza production. In addition, these pizzas are made in trucks which are equipped with GPS and connected to the cloud. When the customer places an order, the closest truck can take the order and automatically prepare the pizza and deliver it to the customer hot and ready. So these kind of solutions are something that we will probably see in the future, how robots and AI, connectivity and different kind of technologies will help in the perfect customer order. This is the kind of things that we will need while we are going towards more personalized food. So we need the agile processing technologies, but we also need the cognition, the robots and different kind of agility in the organizations, in the supply chains. These technologies will help in this hyper-personalized food, which my colleague Nestle will say some words about next. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rika. For sure, there are many unexplored opportunities in the intersection of food and Industry 4.0. Let's elaborate this now further from the consumer perspective. You are almost certainly already used to customize your food to some extent, but a truly personalized food experience is yet to come via advancements in artificial intelligence, as my colleague has mentioned, data and food technologies. Did you know that even the identical twins respond to the same food differently? So why on earth we are trying to force in one size fits all approach to our eating and diet? Hyper-personalized food production requires smart autonomous measuring technologies, integrating people, but also processes with the cyberspace, which makes sensorization of things, but also data, as a key towards hyper-personalized food. But how are we going to enable that? It is forecasted that in 5 years' time, we will have about 75.4 billion connected IoT devices. Do you know what does that mean? It means that every single person on this planet will have 10 IoT devices. This will for sure bring the data collection and also sharing to the next level. So one easy way to sensorize food is via a handheld food scanner, which you see on this slide on the right-hand side, that is based on near-infrared spectroscopy technology. And it can easily be integrated also to your smartphone. Food scanner can identify calories, macronutrients such as protein and carbohydrates, which we all are interested in following, but also micronutrients that are essential for your body, for example, vitamins and minerals. And what's even better is that this communicates it with the consumer in a simple and easy to understand way. Next is, what would be the solutions to sensorize me in a non-invasive and autonomous way that will enable the production of my food based on my data? Here, our skin is an excellent media for sensors to assess the current wellness and health status of the body. It is possible to measure, for example, heart rate, hydration, oxygen saturation, breathing rate, also body temperature. What do you think? Wouldn't it be ideal to have your food consumption optimized, taking into account your health status and activity level? Here in this slide, you see two VTT developed sensors. The first one is VTT FlexDot, and as you can see, it's an easy to stick on your skin patch, and then also the second one is Stretch Node, which is as obvious from the name, it's rather stretchable sensor component that can easily go to your cloth. The other approach which I would like to show today is a little bit maybe novel compared to the others, where we can utilize augmented environment to reshape the eating experiences. Our visual and auditory perceptions, as well as sensory and emotional aspects, can be altered by using the virtual reality or augmented reality. So we actually started thinking about, can we then utilize AR, VR immersion to leverage the consumption of health promoting foods? And in our recently published work, we showed that VR immersion had indeed have a clear effect on consumers' evaluation of eating situation, and they were consuming in a VR environment where there were the sunny picnic environment and then a rainy, thundery picnic environment. And the changes in the environment has also elevated the consumer's perception of a healthy snack, which was in this study a rye nacho compared to chocolate. From the design perspective, there is a need for also new food manufacturing technologies, which will involve elements of prosumerism, design, leisure, and we have to, of course, combine all of these with eating and cooking experiences in a cost-effective way. So 3D footprinting is one of those potential manufacturing technologies that can combine all these elements and also deliver healthy but personalized foods. At VTT, we have developed various high protein and high fiber food structures by using 3D printing technology. And here on the slide, you are seeing various examples of those with quite diverse ingredients that we have used. 3D printing is at the moment an emerging technology and can open up new opportunities from personalized nutrition for spatial groups, for example, elderly or children or pregnant women, to production of plant-based steak at the comfort of your own kitchen. Another striking fact which I would like to highlight today is over half of the people snack at least 2 to 3 times a day. So there is a need to develop solutions for on-the-go eating and snacking. But at the moment, we basically purchase, let's say when we are in the office environment and so on, we go to vending machines or automatic food snacking dispensers, which oftentimes provides unhealthy options that can also increase the risk for obesity and diet-related diseases. So we have developed prototype machines that can produce instantly healthy on-the-go snacks, which the user can personalize according to their preferences, for example, flavors and nutrients. The first prototype machine, which I would like to present, is Food My Way machine that can produce drinkable or spoonable snacks, which the consumer has the ability to fine-tune the nutritional content, for example, dietary fiber and protein, but also can choose from various flavoring options by using several natural ingredients. The development of this kind of machine, which enables production at the point of consumption and delivers personalized snacks, has quite complex ingredient requirements, where you should be looking into and paying specific attention to the rheological properties of both the starting powder ingredients, but also the end product here, here a drinkable product or a spoonable product. So in order to assure also good product experience and also create appealing products, both structure but also flavor should build up instantly during the manufacturing and be stable during the entire consumption period. The other prototype machine is cake in a cup machine that can make on-demand single serving low sugar or low fat sweet and savory cakes, where again the consumer can tailor the nutritional composition, but also can select from various taste options. And all this is happening within a single let's call it mini factory, starting from dry ingredients, flour and other ingredients, and it's mixed and baked in less than 2 minutes. So while you are waiting for your coffee to come from the coffee machine, why not to take also your healthy, guilt-free indulgent with it. So as a summary, I would like to mention that smart and consumer-centric food production requires a holistic approach, where you start by using sustainable food ingredients, looking into smart use of nature's raw materials, but also think about utilizing new food manufacturing technologies, like I mentioned in the beginning of our webinar, maybe using cellular agriculture concepts. And we have to think about new food production and service processes, which we try to summarize you today. And our grand aim is to also look into those opportunities where we can move from mass production to mass customization, putting the consumer a bit more closer to the manufacturing site. And this kind of smart food production system can enable more energy and resource efficient and water lean food system. With this, I would like to thank you all for your attention, and we would be glad to answer your questions. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so thank you very much, Nesli and Riikka, for very interesting presentations. Yeah, and I think now it's time to open this session up for questions. So as a reminder, you are able to post your questions using the chat, or I guess it's called questions functionality in this platform. And yeah, let's see how many we get. We have a few questions already coming up, but I'm sure that we can take a few more in. But yeah, really, hey, wow, thank you for the presentation. So I actually really like the idea about being able to go and buy ready-made food, but still like perfectly tailored for my personal needs and tastes, etc. So when do you think actually that this kind of a big systemic change will happen? Nesli and Riikka, would you like to take that one?
So okay. I'll take maybe, Riikka.
You start.
Yeah, we are already seeing that this is happening. So we are more and more interested in tracking ourselves. So I think almost majority of us, I think I can say that we have those wearables where we are watching our sleeping pattern and our stress levels and maybe even our food consumption. So why don't we adopt that technology also to tailor, to customize our food production? And in this context, I can see a great opportunity in connecting it to Industry 4.0. There is a lot to be learned from that. But how do you see it, Riikka?
Yes, so I agree that it's already so ongoing. So it's maybe not, it's an evolution. So this Industry 4.0 technologies and well have been are adopted all the time in the industries, and so we are taking the stepwise approach there to go towards more personalized solutions and food. So in that sense, we cannot say any date when it is happening or so, but we can only see that there's for example, these flexible robotics or data sharing solutions or artificial intelligence solutions are coming into new applications all the time, and thereby we are stepwise going towards this systemic change.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's dig into the questions that are coming from the audience. So the first one is actually about ingredients, food ingredients. So does this new technology sort of inspire, and does it actually require new kinds of food ingredients? Nestle, maybe you can take this.
Yeah, for sure, depending on the manufacturing type, there would be need for new kind of ingredients. If we take into account these two examples that I give, also including 3D food printing, it's a bit different than the traditional food production. So, and then when it comes to these prototype machines, which I showed, there you have to build instantly the structure and then also the flavor, and it has to be stable in the entire consumption period. So that's for sure brings the need to develop this healthy and different kind of ingredients.
Okay. And the next one is, I think this one goes, Nestle, to you as well. So what do you see as main challenges for the food industry to implement this vision of 4.0 industry?
I would see maybe not a challenge, but also an opportunity there. As a challenge-driven organization, we like to turn the challenges into opportunities. Data is, of course, critical, and I can also see the next question there is also related to GDPR regulations. Yes, as I said, in 5 years' time, we will have 10 per person IoT devices connected to each other. So this is really going to carry us to a next level in creating data, collecting data, and it's getting more and more important, the sharing of data also within the food context. So that is the challenge and opportunity that we have to take into account also in this case.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's take the next one then. What do you think? This is a little bit about costs, which is always a little bit tricky, but where do you think lies the biggest saving potential in agile processing methods within food industry? So is it in product quality assurance to meet the consumer expectations, or is it in better cooking processes to save energy? So Riikka, maybe you would try to take this one?
Okay, the saving potential, well, maybe it's a bit difficult to say because it's such a broad sector, of course. But in general, there's a lot of saving potential still in the manual work. So if we consider, I mean, not only food industry, but if we consider industrial work, so there's maybe half of the tasks could technically be automated already now, but it's not yet maybe cost efficient. So there's certainly analyzing the places where either there's work that is not like producing value and could be maybe automated, or putting like people into those tasks where their best capacities are needed, and then using robots in other places. So that's definitely a big issue. Of course, now in the food industry, while we are so close to consumers, the last mile deliveries are also a place where technology probably will bring a lot of savings in the future, and also this placing the orders and so on, these kind of things. So how to reach the final consumer in an effective way. But about the costs in general, so I think that there's also positive opportunities there a lot, because, for example, many technologies are now cheaper and cheaper. For example, prices of sensors have gone down drastically in 10 years. So it is much more easy to, for example, and cost efficient to measure and then thereby like increase your situation awareness in the inside the factories and between the factories and everywhere. A second thing that will also bring costs down is that the robotic technologies are developing, so you can probably also have these multi-purpose robots that can do different things, because it's a big investment, at least for a smaller company, to buy a robot. But if the robot can do several tasks, it's much more economically viable, of course. So these would be probably the ones that come into my mind.
Okay, great. Okay, there's a tricky question about compliance, but let's try it out. So compliance is a big aspect of food and beverage industry. So how do you think this needs to adapt to dynamic and personalized food and beverages production? Nestle?
Yeah, this is a big question. So, well, if I approach it again, maybe from the consumer point of view, I think it's easier and easier to get compliance from the consumer if it fits into the personal expectations and in a cost-effective way. I think that's the one of the criteria. And then if in this context we have been from VTT perspective all the time focusing on delivery of personalized nutrition together with the personalized eating solutions. So we are not only eating nutrients, but also the whole complexity, the whole active participation, being part of the food production is also part of this personalized eating and diet concept. So in that sense, I think these are the critical things when it comes to the compliance from the consumer side.
Okay. A question, how do we differentiate distributed or decentralized manufacturing from a smart restaurant?
Should I take that as well?
Yeah.
All right. So I have already given 2 examples for that. So in a smart restaurant, and at the moment we are also seeing also in this pandemic conditions more and more these ghost kitchens, and then more we are moving towards, instead of physically going to restaurants, there's tremendous amount of, I would say, explosion in the amount of delivery services and so on. But then if you look at these kind of, I would call them mini factories or manufacturing hubs, they are, I think, significantly different than this kind of restaurants. First of all, they are more looking into this fast but healthy solutions, and also gives the opportunity for the consumer to also decide about the different selection of healthy ingredients. For example, when we are talking about the cake in a cup machine, it gives the option for the consumer to select from oat protein concentrate or pea protein concentrate. So these kind of differences do exist when it comes to comparing this with the smart restaurants. But of course, there is some synergies there.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Rick, I think you touched this a little bit in your presentation, but maybe you could elaborate this a little bit further. How will the hyper-personalization sort of affect quality control, and yeah, what are opportunities there?
Okay, the personalization, as it really makes a big sort of stress to the manufacturing systems and the manufacturing processes and supply chains, maybe also. So that, of course, means that we need to have a clever automation there. And once we are increasing automation level, it is immediately increasing also the need for high quality in everything. So we need to be, any mistake or any anomaly in the process will be more dramatic if it's more automized. So in that sense, I think that this quality aspect is also in the process performance. It is getting extremely important when you don't have if the decision is made automatically or by machines. So in that sense, it's only highlighting the quality issues. Of course, there's also in many places the increased automation level means that the quality is more stable.
Okay, thank you. And Nestle, I think the next one is for you. So there's a question, how do you think people will respond to the personalized food machines that you were presenting?
We have done actually consumer studies with these two different prototype machines, both the Food My Way machine and Cake in a Cup machine. So it has been well appreciated, and then we have also tested in different use case conditions. And the need was obviously seen in the office environment, in the university campuses, for example, and then also in the hospital environments where you have long waiting times and have no access or little access to food. And one thing that we didn't think about that much, particularly when we were designing and making the Cake in a Cup machine, was the freshness element. And that came out because we have evaluated the consumer's perception from the point of the product that we have been producing with the machines, but also from the machine usability perspective. And then that was something that has been pretty much liked with the consumers. The fresh smell of the baked cake, if they have chosen chocolate cake, the smell of the chocolate and so on. That was the first thing that they were commenting, the freshness and also being part of the entire production experience.
Okay, great. Let's take the next one. Yeah, and actually it's good because this is a very topical question. So as we are in the middle of this pandemic right now, so how will this kind of a personalized, more agile food system help in crisis like this? Riikka, would you like to take this one?
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mean, the coronavirus has really shaken the world, but it has also put resilience in the focus. So I think that everybody is now talking about the sovereignty in technologies, in the supply chains, in the critical ones, where food definitely is one. But of course, for food industry, I think that it has been for at least in some cases, a huge turbulence also in order patterns and also in the sort of lead times due to the crisis. I mean, because of the supply chains disturbances. And this is, of course, exactly the place where the agile manufacturing and agile supply chains are needed. So it is definitely highlighting the importance of the agility and cognition that I was describing in the presentation. And then, of course, I mean, from the consumer side, there's many people who have adopted new kind of shopping habits here in this situation, so ordering online and these home delivery services and so on. So this is, of course, something that also pushes maybe the food sector to new kinds of innovations and speed ups the innovations there. And then finally, of course, the consumers are also increasingly aware about the safety aspects, and so interested about where the food comes from, that it's clean and so on. So these kind of things are definitely speeding up the need for new innovations and changes.
Okay, thank you so much. I see that there are quite a few questions actually coming up, and it seems that we won't be able to answer all of them during this session. So the ones that we are not able to answer, of course, we will then take offline and answer on one-on-one basis. I would like to just pop up the last question for both Riikka and Nesli. So what will VTT's role be in sort of driving this kind of an agile, personalized industry forward, and how ready are we in doing that?
Maybe I can take first, so that Nesli, you have the final word then. Okay, so from the sort of the industry and industrial digitalization perspective, I think VTT has a lot to give. So we have been working on this area, so how to take or advance the technologies, integrate them together, and work together with the companies in different kind of ecosystems in different sectors, where we can learn from the different sectors to another. So I think that there's a lot of things that are already ready there, but what we should do still is to work together with the food industry in these sort of industry 4.0 issues more. So I would say that there's still work to be done, but a lot of things are ready and could be learned from the other sectors where we have more experience in the industry 4.0 area.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Riikka. And if I might only compliment to what you have said, yes, there are lots of opportunities there, and then pieces of this integrating industry 4.0 and food economy 4.0 is there, and we have to connect the parts of the puzzle. And here, most important thing is as I said also during my presentation, is the data collection. Autonomous data collection is quite critical, not only from the perspective of the consumer, but also from the processes and connecting these two worlds with each other. So we believe that the personalized food will be a routine thing in 10 years' time. So we are getting there, and then also the current pandemic has also once more showed the importance of adopting these agile technologies, and distribution and so on is quite critical when it comes to food, because that's quite a vulnerable system. So we have to be adapting to the changes that is happening. Can have a systemic effect in the food distribution and access to nutritious food.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, so I would also like to thank all the participants. So it was a pleasure to have you here with us. And I would like to remind you to kindly leave us some feedback. So after the webinar closes, there will be a pop-up where you can leave us some feedback and post further questions if you like. And here on the slide, you can also see our contact information. So you are very welcome to contact us anytime after this webinar. So thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.